All right. Okay, well, let me start with these images. Um, let's see. Uh, just a minute. Yeah. Well, I don't know where to put that thing. I guess I'll put it over there. Okay, these are just three examples. Um, but I think these I grabbed off the web just real quick for reference. Um, but you see the amount of negative space around it, the boat that's in the water, obviously. And I would have probably cropped it a little bit smaller. I think it's an excess of size, but the background or the negative space, if you will, is not anything that has any detail in it, and it doesn't distract from the subject. I think in this particular case, the subject matter is a little bit small, and I probably would have cropped it a lot different. Um, Maybe a little bit of a pano, but I think smaller to bring out the boat a little more. Um, but it's important to understand that this negative space surrounding this is really not anything that's a distraction to the subject itself. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the examples or the meeting tonight. Um, this is another one that I thought I think it's a better image to explain it, but it's almost self-explanatory based on the content that I just presented you with about negative space. So and in this case too, it really is an emphasis on simplicity. Um, Simplicity or simple images are really probably among the most difficult to do well, really well. But when they're done well, they're like, oh, you can just get really right into them. I mean, you've got a point of interest. Um, you got a nice foreground here, which is it's kind of in focus. This was kind of a screen grab, so it may have been a little more in focus, but it looks like they've blurred it a bit. But the background, the fog, if you will, which is obvious because there's background buildings along in here. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, let me also do this.
There you
Does
go.
that make it better?
Much better.
Okay. I mean, you can see the buildings back here. I assume they're buildings, but obviously in the fog. And but it's just really very simple, very basic, and a nice amount of negative space around it. This here, another good example. In this particular case, and this is true, and I don't know really how to teach people this, but I preach it. um, is the camera or the final print begins in the camera, and if you're going to shoot, like in this particular case, the subject matter, the wall, the seawall, if you will, um, they wanted this to create a negative image or a negative space image, not only with the sky, but the water. So they did a time lapse shot with the waves hitting the wall, which what did it do? It fogged all that water. So there was no water detail. Uh, uh, Cancel that. Um, and they knew what they were going to do in the image. I've always talked about, you have to vision the print before you can shoot. So many people are just snap, 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 and it. I don't know if how many of you have ever used a view camera, but if you ever get a chance, use a view camera because it forces you. to really work the image to the point before you actually fire the lens. And, I don't care digital or film, the same thing applies, even if it's not a view camera. You've got to think through the subject matter. You've got to think, should I get down lower? Do I have a better angle this way or that way? Am I framing it right? Do I move 6 feet this way? There's just a lot to consider before you fire that lens. Now, I'm talking predominantly landscape photography. I know, animals and impromptu shots are a little different. You can't always anticipate, but if you get, some sport like sports, you can anticipate things and you know better what you're shooting. But in landscape in particular, you need to really plan your shot. You need to vision the print and then execute in the camera what you need to have on the film or the digital capture to execute that. So you have minimal post-processing. I know they do miracles in post-processing, and AI is getting to be a big deal. And a lot of the stuff that you can do in Photoshop and many of the other things, can perform miracles like replace sky and so on and so forth. And it does a really nice job, I have to admit. But there's times to use it. But if you don't have to do that stuff and you plan it in the camera before you fire the shutter, and I'm not saying don't take 5 or 6 shots, but 100 or so or something of the same subject, I don't support that. You're not thinking ahead of time. You're just thinking, well, surely one of them will be good. Kind of playing the odds. But anyway, that's just some examples. Is there any part of that anybody has any questions on?
What is a view camera?
Oh, okay. I guess I'm talking about my age now. Back in actually, it hasn't been that long ago. When photography started, they basically used a pinhole camera, which was nothing but a box with
okay.
a sensitive plate in the back and a pinhole in the front. Well, then they went to view cameras, which were made out of wood predominantly, and you had a ground glass screen on the back side where you normally would have the film, and you put a black cloth over your head and over the camera, because these things were like either 4x5 or as big as 11x14. And I mean, Ansel Adams shot mostly with a 8x10, and he hauled that sucker around. But anyway, and then you look at the ground glass, but when the image comes through the lens onto a ground glass, it's upside down. And so it forces you to look at that image in a way that's different. And in post-processing, sometimes I advocate some people, hey, do image rotation, and flip it upside down. And you'll see things that you don't normally see. I mean, you're sitting and looking at an image, say this one for 5 minutes, and oh yeah, it looks great, Well, if you understand what you need to keep and what you need to get away with or throw away or whatever to make this image better, you need to understand the image better if you don't know that already from what you captured in the camera. But anyway, that ground glass gives you the opportunity to adjust the front of the lens, which you could tilt both horizontally and vertically. Okay, which allows for you can correct for perspective. Yes.
May I?
Sure.
View camera.
There's a view camera. Yeah. Was that 4x5?
4x5.
Yeah.
And here is a negative out of the 4x5.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, they're back in the film days.
Back in the film days.
Actually,
Still got
it's
them.
coming back. It's coming back.
It's coming back. Yeah. Love it.
But anyway, and then when you got the front corrected for perspective, you could tilt forward or backward. You could tilt it side to side. if you're shooting an architectural shot, you could adjust for that change, in perspective. You did all that in camera. And then what you did is you slide in from the side. Do you have a film holder, Calvin?
I don't have one right here with me. No.
Okay. I got some downstairs, but I'm not going to run down and get them.
Yeah.
But anyway, you slide in a film holder and then you pull the slide open on one side of it. It's a double-sided. You pull the slide open, you fire the shutter. Okay. Well, you close it before you open the film, but you fire the shutter, you set it for the speed and everything that you want. And then you put the black slide back in, you pull out the film holder, turn it over, push it in again, pull the slide, make another exposure if you want to make two of them, and make an adjustment on your lens for speed or aperture or whatever. So yeah, it's very mechanical. A lot of things that you do. Well, there's a lot of things with a view camera you can't do with a standard, 35 or a full 35 format digital camera, or any of the digital cameras. There is now I can't remember the brand name of it, but it's a lens that actually does these slide movements that an old
A tilt shift lens.
view camera.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's the same thing that you could do with a view camera years ago. Well, I should say decades ago.
Yeah, decades ago.
When I started shooting weddings, I shot with a 2 1/4, 3 1/4 view camera, and but you had to roll back on it, so you just advance it, pretty quickly. But yeah, so it hasn't been that long ago. But yeah, for you guys, view cameras like, oh my God, it's in the museum. Well, they're still good, and there's still people that shoot them. Like a good friend of mine, he shoots nothing but 4x5, and he'll come back from a trip with 16 images. 16, not 160 or 1600. And he'll process those, and but he spent probably 3 days shooting. But he's always going around looking for the right image and so on and so forth. So anyway, just some thoughts on that. Any other questions?
I'm gonna tell you, Spencer, what's fun about this view camera. You take it out, and like Raymond was explaining, that's the things you have to go through to get it set up. You might spend 5 or 10 minutes framing your shot, getting the camera set just so you can go click.
Yep. Oh yeah.
A lot of thought.
By the way, it better damn well be on a tripod.
Yeah. Oh yes. You're not gonna freehand shoot one of these. Yeah. It has to be on a tripod.
Crazy.
But this camera I've got here was the same one my uncle had back in the late 40s, and I've got a photo he took of me when I was a baby with this camera.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, it has a
and
lot
this camera
of.
still works like a brand new one.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's great. Okay, well, let me open this evening's piece. By the way, thank you for leading me through that system preferences. Since I'm working on a double monitor setup here, you can't see my other one. Let's see. Go ahead. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I've got it right. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Dennis is not on tonight, is he? Okay.
No, he's working.
Yeah, this is titled Libby. I assume it's his dog or a friend's dog. There's certainly negative space around it. Well, let me first start. I want to say that it's a really good exposure. I don't know what how much post he's done on it. It looks like he's done a little bit of vignetting, and the exposure and the sharpness on the dog is really, really good. It almost borders a little bit too sharp, but it's certainly sharp. And the eyes, I mean, here's another learning experience. I think if I were shooting this, and I know that's a dog and they don't always just stay there, but I would have tried to gather the shot from him a little bit more straight on. If I had stood maybe 3 feet this way, could have got both eyes in, because whether you're shooting people or animals, it's really important that you have the eyes. The eyes speak so loudly, and a catch light in the eye would be just really, really great to also. But anyway, I like the image quality of the dog for the particular subject matter or the challenge of negative space. He's got negative space, but if you think back on the 3 images I showed you, it's almost competing with the dog. I mean, I have a landing spot in the primary point of interest right here, but these white spots, particularly out here at the edges, I mean, the observer, if you will, I'll call it the observer, looking at this image, your eye really is captured by the lightest element of the image. That's the first thing you go to almost. The human mind just works that way. And you need it as a photographer to understand that. In this case, you've got 3 really, really white spaces down here, and then you're populated with a multitude around it. Those are, in my mind, the wrong thing to have. If he had shot in a different location where there's total shade, where there was no filtered sun coming through, it would have been a lot better. And he could have shot with a more open lens to in camera, could have thrown that grass out of focus to the point where the only thing that you had depth of field that only included the dog from the teeth to the back of the ears. You guys understand depth of field, I assume. Does depth of field mean anything to you, Spencer or Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. You know what I'm talking about then. So in this particular case, there's competition between the background and the subject matter. But from an exposure standpoint, just if this was an open, as an example, I would still say that, hey, those white spots got to go. And you ideally should have blurred this anyway to detract or to make this less obvious, to not capture the eye away from the dog. In this case, actually, no, I guess not. No. Okay. Any questions on anything I've said?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, agree with you. Yeah, the white spots are just really a big distraction.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you try to look at the dog, my eye just goes, wow, right here.
Yeah.
I can't get away from it.
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
mine-
Dennis,
Then I can go to the dog.
I guess Dennis could just burn those white spots out
Yeah.
eventually.
I think some cropping here would be probably appropriate also, but the vignetting is probably a little too much vignetting. I mean, even if you had the background right, you probably would not have needed to do that much vignetting had you had the proper background, particularly for a negative space image.
Yeah, it's not really subtle. It's just really extreme.
Right. Okay, stop me anytime if I have any questions or anything. Okay, this is Facing Sunrise, and there's no name. Calvin, do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's mine. I'm sorry. I
Oh.
forgot to put my name on it.
That's a Burgess.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I left my name off.
Okay. There's the first thing, I think it's a great exposure. It's a great idea. But let me show you something. Does your eye settle on that a little better?
Hmm.
Yep.
I don't know, because I know now he's facing
Let's
less.
let's put it this way. It should.
Yeah.
One
That's
thing
your,
about,
that's your left to right,
yeah,
reading
Right.
left to right. Yep.
we
Right.
English read left to right. You're spot on, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And in maybe another language we would do this differently, but we read left to right. And the human mind, our human minds at least, are trained to do that. If this image were not that way, I would look at this and I would just go zoom right out of the picture. There's nothing to stop me from just going right out. So yeah, you really need to come back and look at this and say, look into it. And my eye can't go out here. There's no way.
Right. Good point.
So just a learning opportunity here.
So to just leave some space for I don't know what type of bird this is, but is this a swan, I'm guessing? Or a
Blue
crane?
heron.
A blue heron.
Blue
To like
heron.
look.
Had a blue heron,
Yes.
Calvin? Yeah, I
Yes.
thought. Okay. I mean, the negative space part, well, I like your exposure. I think I'd probably crop it some, but your negative space, you either blurred or created a blur with your exposure.
No,
camera.
that's actually natural blur on the water.
Okay. Good.
Is that
Good.
that blurred area behind him
Yeah.
is a bright orange. It was last autumn. Sun was hitting those trees behind him and just lit that water up bright orange all the way around him. And that's what caught my eye, was the whole scene.
How did you attain this blackout here?
That is just that water was just dark. I did that through the exposure. I forget what I exposed that for, but the water
Well,
just kind of fell off to black because it was darker. It was
you
just the
see this
tree.
water over here
Yes,
on the left side?
right,
You need more of that over here, but you've certainly got the right idea here.
sure.
Okay. I think this is a real good image. But you need this kind of technique, if you will, over here, which if you adjusted this black, which I'm reading between the lines here, that I think you did, I'm assuming you could open this up similar to what this is.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything over there to reflect on the water, so that's why it came out so dark.
Oh,
That's
okay. I
like
thought
I
I adjusted the blacks to the point where,
no, I adjusted the
oh,
exposure
okay.
to get what you see.
Okay.
Because I saw that bright orange tree lighting up that water. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So I took 4 or 5 shots of that bird out there. The most work I did on that was getting rid of some stuff, some ripples on the water that were kind of funky looking.
Yeah. Well, you need the negative space, you've got a lot of it, but the black is just a bit much. I think you probably could have, cropped off about this much black
Sure.
and done yourself more of a favor, just made a square format out of it.
Okay.
And would have brought the blue heron, more prominent, and still had nice out of focus stuff going on here. I like this side, a lot better than this solid black.
Sure.
In fact, you could almost,
Crop it.
and Tyler, maybe you and Spencer, I don't know how advanced you are guys in post-processing, but there are ways you could copy this and flip it and put it over here.
Right. Stick it over there. Yeah.
Yeah. and make it look good. So if you don't have it, you can create it.
Sure.
Anyway, but I really like it's a feeling of isolation. It's simple. It's not complex. You know it's water, even though it's blurred. And it's blurred enough that it doesn't detract from the blue heron. The black over here, the solid black, just to me is a distraction, but I'd like this kind of stuff over here. Okay. Any questions?
Does it seem like it's the photo's a little crooked a little bit to the left?
Yeah. I'm not going to go into a lot of, we can go
Okay.
into, let me stop here. And image edit. Yeah, it's probably about a half a degree or 3/4 of a degree out of vertical, I would visually. Yeah. Do you see what I'm talking about, Vic, Calvin?
Yeah. That's why I did not include the far bank.
You what?
That's why I did not include the bank on the other side of the
Oh, in the
lake.
background?
Yep. Because I got the cameras about as well as I could get before he moved.
Yeah, that's about 9/10 of a degree right there.
Yeah,
To me, that looks better than that.
sure.
Any other questions? Yeah, we've done him. I didn't mean to close that. Okay. Okay. Bill Stottlemyre.
Yes,
Is it titled Wall or The Wall? I guess it's Wall,
wall.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Um, I really like what you've done here. You've got a little bit of something going along here. Was this stuff you just couldn't get rid of, or?
well, I didn't notice until later. It's probably a seam on the wallpaper that I tried to get rid of.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So you shot this and there was wallpaper surrounding it and you just tried to remove it
Right,
in post?
yeah.
Okay. Does the perspective, I like what you've done here, but is the rotation of this seem right?
What do you mean?
Well, let me go back here a minute. Just I'm using distort here because
Yeah.
I think there's probably some other things. I mean, the verticals aren't vertical or weren't. And
Yeah,
I didn't know whether that you was it your intent? You know,
yeah.
and I really have to go back to your intent in that shot. Was it your intent that that wall of that picture, framed picture, be distorted
Well,
perspective wise?
I didn't think about changing. I just tried to line up the left side,
Oh, okay.
but I like that better.
Yeah, and in something like this where you have straight lines, um, it's almost like an architectural shot. It almost demand is probably too strong a word, but it would be suggested that it be kept these lines at least vertical and the parallel lines this way, which of course aren't parallel from this perspective, but you know, adjusted.
Okay.
So now, in this particular case, well, let's see, let's just leave it there. And we could go back. Yeah, we can go to image. Now that I flipped it, but to me, that doesn't really do much.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't like that. I think you're running into the same thing you were with the, reading left to right.
Yeah. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I closed it. No wonder. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go back and correct this, but I like your use of the white negative space, but you do have some stuff here that wouldn't be too hard to clean up.
Yeah.
It's just little details, Bill, but they're important. And those would be really, really easy to clean up.
Yeah, they would be.
So, but I like the idea of what you've done. And I think you've approached the negative space thing from a good perspective. I'd like to see a little bit more. This is a little tight compositionally from the edge of the frame to this left side of the print or the image.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the frame a little bit more this way.
Okay.
And again, you can always add and then subtract from this side to balance it. I don't know how comfortable you are with post processing.
Uh, I'm okay. I'm not that good.
Okay. Well, I'm maybe talking beyond your understanding of it, but others there may understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think this is a good shot at it. Let's see, Libby, we did that. Okay. Okay, the title of this is The Bow, and it's by Jim Schultz. I really like this. I'm not crazy about the white line around the outside, but it certainly does. In this particular case, I was talking earlier about the amount of black that Calvin had in his image. In this case, it's a whole different design, different composition. And in this case, that amount of black works. Obviously, it's non-distracting. And look at the detail in the shadows here. I don't know if you guys can see it because I got a calibrated monitor. I don't know about any of you, but you may not be able to see it. But you can see the seat. There's a basketball here. There's a bunch of stuff. Looks like it's folded up and waterproofed or tarp wrapped around it or something. But there's really nice detail in there, which is great. I really like that. I think my suggestion compositionally is that this is a little too close to these edges, the outer edges. And second of all, it's not centered. You've got more space here than you have over here. In a case like this, that ought to be centered. I'm not sure this white line around it adds to it. I think if you matted this with an 8-ply mat, it would just pop. It'd really be nice. It probably burn down some of this rope, which is the right thing to do, because it was obviously probably more like this. But yeah, it may have adjusted the aluminum itself. I don't know, but I think it's a really good image with some things I would critique on that. Any questions? Okay, being none. Bill, I know you're here. No, he's not here tonight.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you are. Sorry. My mind was still running around trying to get this thing to be able to work. I'm sure glad we got it to work. Because I couldn't be doing these things. This is titled Night Hoop. I like your title. Based on what I've said already, Bill, what would you say about your print?
As far as what,
Based on the definition of what I've talked about tonight, is there anything you think right away that you'd change on this? Given the fact that it's a negative space image?
probably not, but go ahead and tell me
Okay.
what you're
Okay.
thinking.
I'll open my mouth. Okay.
I think
First
it's
of all,
there's too much texture in the back.
yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah,
that not be?
yeah. That's if you go in here with the Gaussian blur or blur. Well, you could make a mask. It'd be real easy to make a mask of the basketball back and the strings here, and of course this would be a piece of cake. But you want to isolate the brick wall, and you really want to blur that out. But I think given that, combined with the light and dark areas, the values that you have from black to below mid-tone to mid-tone, and you don't have some of your mortar here is maybe not quite 255 system value, which is white, probably in the upper 240s, which is great. But fixing all that and getting rid of that textural quality in that brick, and probably have to get rid of that white line. Was that white line in that building, or was that a power
No,
line?
that's in there, but yeah.
Is it? Okay. That wouldn't be hard to fix either. There's tools. What post-processing software you use?
That's Lightroom.
Lightroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lightroom's got some tools you can use that you can pretty easily get rid of that. I don't mind the dark line here with a little bit of white. I would probably, by the time you blurred this, I think that white would probably go away, because I'd probably I'd probably open up curves on that area, and I'd adjust that some too, in addition to the blurring of the brick background or the brick wall. And I see some chalk line on there too, but that's okay. I mean, you expect that. It's almost like a street shot. During the day, it's probably populated with kids, especially in the summer. It is an outdoor
Yeah, you're right.
venue,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. I closed one here and I need to reopen it. Which one was it?
I think it was the wall,
Yeah,
the wall, but wall.
yeah. Okay. Being there is no honorable mentions, what I'd like to do is go through and starting with the best. I'm still missing one. Well, okay, this one in my book is number one tonight. The wall. Just open that. Bill, I think you got lots of possibilities here. It wouldn't take much to fix this, but I think you approached the subject matter and the technique of negative space pretty well, but some work to do on that. That's the second place. And facing sunrise. I guess I don't have that one open either.
Where's Calvin's photo?
Yeah, I've got it coming. the one we flipped.
Yeah.
I picked that as number 3. But I mean, they're all nice shots, but I think that they are in that order. But Calvin, I think really you could pick this up and put some over here and really do
Sure.
yourself a lot of favors.
Okay.
Or when you shot it, well, I don't know, it's a really good shooting angle for the heron. Well, I think there are ways that you could sure try getting rid of some of this black. And it probably needs some cropping also.
Sure.
So with that, I don't have anything else to add unless you guys have got some questions.
Hey, Bill Schaft,
Yes, sir.
I was going to ask you, what was the light source on that wall?
Just an outdoor light.
Was it down kind of low? Because it looks like the light is kind of coming from maybe about, it looks like it's coming down a little low and kind of going up, or is that just the way the light was?
Just the way it looks. It's over on the upper right-hand side of the
It's a
frame.
street light probably, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the side of a school.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. That light, the angle of that light and the way those bricks were lit really was really interesting. I was just wondering what else you could do with that as far as a shot without the basketball's goal silhouette in there, if there's anything else that you could do with that.
Possibly.
I like the fact that you silhouetted that hoop
Mhm.
and the backdrop or backboard.
Thank you. I've driven by that 100 times and thought I'd go photograph that. Of course, there's more to it. I cropped that pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we might look at flipping that image. Hmm. I don't know.
Yeah,
When you're working in post, it doesn't hurt to do that. And earlier, one of the things I was talking about was, rotate the thing. And in this particular case, whoops, had 90. Need another 90. Get on image. Need to go 180. Image. Rotation.
$270.
It makes you look at it a lot different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's counterintuitive, but it forces the brain to see things that you don't normally see. Things sometimes stand out more than they don't normally. And here too, the background is probably not. I'd rotate it a bit because this looks like it's slanting probably maybe a couple of degrees off of vertical. Not that it's that important in this particular shot. It's not really an architectural shot, but it doesn't bother me that much. But in my case, I'd probably rotate it, but I don't see that's a big issue here. The big issue is that brick background. Anything else?
Thanks for your critique.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Well, next year I'll come up. Well, I don't know, Calvin, you're not going to be the pres next year, are you?
No, I really don't. I need to get a
You're
break.
hoping not. You're hoping not to. Well, anyway, I'll pick something else. Maybe I'll pick that Fibonacci piece.
Hey, did you see the email that I sent you about
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think? Could
Yeah, I
that
thought
spiral be?
I thought that would work. Yeah,
Yeah, because I looked at it a couple ways. I flipped the spiral around, flipped it horizontally and vertically, and I thought, okay,
Yeah.
that could be made to work.
Yeah.
And that was just a chance shot I took out here, I think last summer.
I hate those chance shots. You got to
Well, I mean,
plan.
I was out playing with my camera and I looked. I said,
Oh,
okay,
you're
there's a
playing.
butterfly.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, I was actually shooting for something else, and I saw him. And I thought, okay, so I zoomed. I was narrowed in on that butterfly, and he was sitting still. So I thought, okay,
You were
took a couple
learning.
shots at him.
Okay.
No, that wasn't just a grab shot. I mean, he was there, so I thought, okay, you get in my
Okay.
way, I'll take your shot. I'll take a photo of it.
Okay.
Hey, Calvin,
Yes.
what is the subject, the assignment for next month?
Next month. Let me pull that up.
It is leading lines.
Leading lines?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Thank you.
Yep, leading line. Jim Mathis will be judging our leading lines. Yeah, I sent him an invite to, if he wants to sit in here tonight. I didn't know if he would or not, but yeah, he was actually, I think he wanted to do November, but he's going to be traveling in November, so he picked next month.
Okay.
So.
Well, when I talked about this critique, Tyler's gone, but anyway, in the critiques, we kind of do the same thing, but we spend more time on each image, but everybody can bring one image. And we go through and we talk about the images. We ask you, the maker, what your intent is, what the title is, and speak about a paragraph of what the image is about. And then we go from there. So if you're interested, get a hold of Calvin. He's got my email.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, Calvin,
Yes.
what is Gary Walden's wife's name?
Susie.
Susie, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that, if you got the membership list from last year, you can still get a hold of her through that address and that phone number.
Yeah, I've got that on the list here.
Yeah.
We don't have any spouses' names, so. Yeah, I might go ahead and take a look, see what's out there.
Yeah. I'll get a hold of Linda again, see if, actually, I need to do some dig through my stuff here. I know I've got a picture of a bunch of his equipment she sent me, and nothing else. She could probably send it to me again if I can't find it. But I can have her just mail it out to everybody too.
You know what model Nikon he shot?
No, I really don't, and I didn't pay much attention to it because I don't use Nikon equipment. So that'd be throwing something in my bag that I couldn't use.
Yeah, because I mean, if you call her, she's not going to know. Probably. Well, it would the camera. Does she still have the cameras?
Yes, I believe she does. She has some of them, and
Okay.
his Gary's widow has some of them.
Oh, okay.
So there's more than one batch of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I only have
one of those things.
the Canon stuff I was talking about earlier, just because I opened my mouth at work and asked for an old Canon camera because somebody gave me some really high end lenses for a film Canon camera. So I'll use those once in a while.
Good, good. Well, I mean, all lenses don't fit,
No,
all bodies. So yeah,
right,
what you're getting.
right. And the thing I liked about using the Pentax digital is my old Pentax manual lenses will work on my digital. You just have to realize that the aperture and the aperture settings will be a little different than what you would get with a digital lens, but they work. Oh, they work great. If I want to use one of the old Pentax lenses, I can put it on my digital.
Just out of curiosity, how many of you shoot in program or auto mode?
I kind of go back and forth.
I shoot in like mainly just only manual.
Good.
Yeah. The only time I'll do that is if I'm not real sure of what areas are going to come out hot or dark. I might do that once, take 1 or 2 shots in the green mode, look at it, and I think, okay, so now I need to adjust for either a shutter or aperture priority or both. Or I need to tone down my aperture, bring my aperture down or up. I kind of do that just as a seat of the pants thing, just to see where I'm at with it. But I don't shoot in auto mode or green mode.
I usually shoot auto priority.
Which priority?
What did I just say?
Aperture?
Aperture, thank you.
Aperture priority?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's normally what I shoot.
Yeah, that's a good one. Bill, what about you? All right. I hate to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Which bill are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill Shaw.
Oh, yeah. I shoot mostly aperture priority
Good.
or straight manual, but mostly aperture priority.
Well, there's a time for, speed, but, fast to catch action or whatever, but yeah, just depends on the shot. But, well, that's good news.
And I also, the times when I'm not real sure, when I switch to either aperture or shutter priorities, I'll set my camera to take a burst of bracketed shots, so I can get several different exposures for one
Like
thing.
HDR,
Right.
and then you layer them.
Sometimes I'll layer them. Sometimes I
pick
I
one.
can pick one and work with it. But I'll do that sometimes if I'm not real sure how this is going to come out. As I
How
get
many
older,
do you
we get that
usually
little,
shoot? You shoot 3 or 5?
I can do,
First.
oh good night, I forget how many. Usually I shoot 3 or 5. It depends on what I'm shooting. I can shoot several more than that if I tell my camera to do it. But as I get older, even though I've had cataracts taken out of my eyes, it's still hard for me to see that little LCD screen and really pull out the detail. So I do more bracketed shots anymore than normal.
Well, don't count on the LCD to tell you detail.
History.
No, the only thing I'm looking for there is I'm looking for hot spots or really dark areas.
Do you use a histogram?
Yes,
Okay.
I do use histogram.
You don't have an auto setting on that view camera, do you?
Yeah. I got an auto setting. It's called a tripod.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's the only
Raymond?
auto setting on that.
Hey, Raymond,
Yes,
on
Tom.
the Photoshop 2023, do you rent that by the month? Do they charge you by the month?
Yeah, I subscribe to
Is
it.
that an online deal?
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
$10.99.
Well, yeah, it's with Lightroom it's $19.99. Photoshop by itself is $9.99, or at least that was the last price I remember it. I've got the full suite because I use the other stuff quite a bit too. So
There's a couple of choices then?
Yeah, so if you choose just Photoshop and Lightroom, then I think it's like $10.99 a month, and that's for maybe like 1 terabyte of storage. But if you want, I believe, more storage, it's I think like $20 only for the photography package. But I daily recommend just the $10 monthly version.
Yeah.
And just use like an external hard drive.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Tom, it's constantly updated. So
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have to
what I
worry about updates or anything. It's
That can be good and bad.
constantly updated.
Yeah.
Spencer, you know probably what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, my current laptop that I'm on right now, I had to get a different computer because this is a MacBook 2015 and I can't edit pictures on the newest
yeah.
version. So I had to get a different computer.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, you get, if you do, you get an M3 or an M2 chip.
Oh no,
M2
I just have a like a Mac Mini. It's
Oh,
an
great.
M1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Smart move. Smart move.
yeah, because
The
I
only
didn't
thing
want
to do
to.
is a monitor.
I didn't want to have to buy a more expensive like computer.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah, the Mac Mini. I mean, an M2 Mac Mini right now, you got it some pretty good prices. Um,
Yeah,
but you,
I think I
you
got
really
mine
need to.
for like 700 used.
Yeah, but that's probably with 256. Kernel.
512
Oh, 512.
and a
Really?
16 gig
RAM.
yeah, RAM.
Yeah.
But it was
I'd probably
on
want more than
Amazon.
that. I usually run with at least 64
Oh
gig,
wow.
but makes everything
Yeah.
work fast.
Another setting that I like to do is like auto ISO if I'm like shooting sports because
Yeah,
like especially like with clouds, if it's sunny out, it's like it's bright here. Now it's cloudy. And I would rather like it just to be a sunny bright day than like cloud coverage with clouds just moving all over.
yeah,
It'd be a
sure.
pain.
Calvin, you got anything to add?
No, not really. Nothing more to add. Now that the weather's cooled down, I'm going to go back out and play with my other little gizmo. I haven't played with it since last fall, to tell you the truth. Had
You got to
Greg
play
out
with
the
that
other day.
lawn too, don't you?
Yeah, they're gonna play with that for me come next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Are they?
Yeah. You can
Good.
see there's my other little toy.
Oh wow.
Shoots infrared. So I can shoot at nighttime. It's my nighttime camera. I bought this over at Bushnell. I've got a few shots out of it. I needed to play with it because the one thing I found out at night, when you shoot anything with the sky in the background, that kind of messes up the shot because that sky is so cold.
Yeah.
But you're shooting something on the ground, like right now is a great time because we've still got foliage, still got a lot of density in the brush.
Right.
Going out and shooting at night, you get a good contrasting shot because I've sat out here in the backyard and played with it, just watching the neighborhood animals roam around. So yeah, I want to get out, want to get this thing out and play with it a lot more. I can get some good infrared shots nighttime.
We've got a guy in the critique that he's shooting film and digital, but he's shooting as many as 12 exposures on a sheet of film or a single exposure digitally. He's got a digital camera that allows him to do that. And you talk about some really, really nice montages. He's got them. Boy, he does really nice work.
Yeah, I bought another tool for my camera, for my digital camera, is I bought a time lapse shutter timer where I can program it for every half
Yeah.
second up to I think 99 seconds or several minutes, whatever.
Do a time lapse.
Yeah, do some time lapse shots. I've been playing with that too. I'm wanted to put together some stuff with some time lapse photography.
Well, that's a pregnant pause.
Yeah,
Are you looking for a motion to close the meeting?
and it. Let me see here if I can do something here. I'm gonna pull up a screen share if I can. Oh, let's see.
Nice shot.
To show you. You see that?
Yeah,
That's my burning color. So you see that one side is pretty dark. And that's not a reflection of any structure. That's just the water.
but
But I
you,
kind of played with and like, well, a lot of those ripples there that you see around the bird, I got rid of those because they seem a little too distracting.
yeah.
But that side where you're talking about, if I can get that copied
Yeah,
over,
you
makes
just, I
lots.
think you overworked that right side
Yeah,
because you've got some
Well,
stuff there.
yeah. The only thing I got rid of were those things sticking up in the water that was kind of making some ripples around him, and he was a lot of fun to watch. He didn't sit there very long, so I had to work kind of fast. He was out on the prowl for breakfast.
Yeah, he was looking for fish.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. Yeah, because he's standing there in shallow water. I got water there's probably just right about 2 feet deep. That's up on the shallow end of the lake out there.
Oh,
So, yeah. I mean, you could wade out there and probably just have water just barely over your knees, or maybe not even up to your knees. Not worry about where that bird was standing. Well, yeah, talk about that. Next go around, I'd like to see if we can get more people comfortable with doing something like using that Fibonacci spiral. The more I read about that, the more I like that. I thought that is so cool.
well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, a lot of people are just either don't want to understand it or don't understand it and, won't do it, or they'll submit
Yeah,
something, but um, I'd really like to see people get more into the technical side and understand some of the principles of composition. And I mean, there's a lot to that. It's all encompassing, but that word is, but leading lines and all that kind of stuff can be comprised of not only just a line, but just simply
right.
of different values,
Sure.
particularly in black and white. If you look back at the old masters, and I mean, I come from a painting background, but the old masters probably use 6 or 7 tones,
Mhm.
in their paintings,
Sure.
but their paintings had lots of depth. And they
Yeah.
were able to
And
achieve that just by simply changing tone, or perhaps a use of a leading line that's not even a line, just using tones. But
right.
if you go back, just go over to Nelson, and there's a photo exhibit up right now that would be good. I'd recommend for anybody that wants to learn something, go over there and look at that. But also just look at the 15th, 16th century painters. They were just awesome in doing what they do. If you understand
Sure.
tones and leading lines and trying to get the illusion of depth and so on and so forth, there's no reason it can't be applied not only in painting but also photography.
Still have some, Raymond?
I'm about ready to refill my wine glass.
I gotta jump off. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay.
you take care.
I think I'm gonna jump off here too, folks.
Yeah, I am
Hey,
too, guys.
Okay.
Spencer and
Tyler,
Tyler.
Spencer, good to have you guys with us.
Sure.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too.
Yeah.
You guys take care.
Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
You get a chance to get out and shoot something with some leading lines, and then shoot you an open to go with it. And I did send you. I believe I sent you guys both the list of assigned subjects.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm excited for these ones.
Yeah, because it's got the date. You know, we want to get them in there. You know, once you have them turned in, you know, or posted to the website, and so yeah, look forward to seeing some of your work.
Is there a limit to how many pictures we can put up, or?
One each, one open, one assigned,
Oh, okay, so just one photo. Okay.
one each. Yeah,
Well,
we
one
only
of you-
did this tonight, so that would give Raymond a lot more time to really dissect our work.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because Raymond's the one guy I tell you that if he's going to critique your print, bring your own Band-Aid or Band-Aids.
Okay.
I try not to be that critical. I mean, you know, I think of it as constructive. I view it as constructive criticism.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not intended to be, you know, deep cuts or anything like that. It's an opportunity. If you're open to learning, you know, it's an opportunity to learn.
Sure.
And that's what we try to do. Paul McMillan, he ran a studio for, I don't know, 40 years, and had a gallery, had 3 different galleries. So I mean, he comes from a little different background than what I do, and we each have a little bit different perspectives, but that's all right. You know, we're doing something right because we're getting 25, 30 people.
Yeah. A few years ago, Raymond did a class
night,
over at his
guys.
house. See ya.
Night.
And I
Take
took him
care.
up on it. I joined the class because I got thinking, well, you know what, Raymond, I don't know how many more years he's going to be around. So if he's going to let us pick his brain a little bit, share some of his knowledge, I want to get some of that. So
Hey,
whenever I bring a print in and Raymond's going to critique it, I'm kind of sitting on pins and needles. I think he knows what I should know. And if I don't do it right, he's going to let me know about it. So, but I like that. I appreciate that. That's how we learn.
Well, and I think, you know, that everybody that comes to say this or, you know, our critiques, they've got to come to it with the mindset that they want to learn. You know, it's an opportunity for learning. If there's nothing wrong with it, we compliment. I mean, you know, we point out the things that they're doing right and everything. You know, don't get me wrong, but you know, I continue to learn from these sessions, even though
Sure.
I'm just giving the critique. I mean, at times I bring pieces, Paul brings pieces, but you know, if we're closing our eyes and our minds to learning, then we stop living, in my book.
Sure.
You know, why box yourself in? I've seen painters that, you know, it's like Grandma Moses. I don't know if anybody remembers Grandma Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Remember her paintings? They were like the same thing every time, you know, different subjects, but the technique, the color palette, all of that was the same old, same old, same old, same old.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah. But she lived inside of a box. There was nothing creative about it, you know. Was she good at what she did? Yeah. But there was nothing creative really about it. Kind of a shame, but
Yeah.
I just don't subscribe to that.
To like live in a box and just create your work and then
Yeah.
not share it with others or talk about it with others.
That's sad. Yeah, we've got there's an arts organization I belong to, and I refer to those people as Sunday painters. They're hobbyists, you know, they just, when I've got time, I paint, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. That's what I do. And in fact, one time we tried setting up, we would actually pay for a person at the Nelson to lead a group of us through, and we would pick dedicated styles, if you will, and try to get people from the organization to come. And it was the same ones all the time, but it was never the Sunday painters at all. They just, you know, why would I want to go? Why would I even want to go to the Nelson? You know, good God, you know, what are you forcing down my neck? But anyway, I could get in my soapbox, but I'll try not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm as old as the club is, Calvin. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I was gonna tell you too, Bill Studmar gave me some more old records from the club. And I need to get busy and scanning this stuff. I've got some of it scanned already that I already had. But I'll
You
put
want-
it together and try to create an archive, a digital archive, and then share it with anybody who wants it.
You want some
you know,
more?
just- Want some more?
Yeah, I
Sure.
got
I'm
a
a-
bunch.
I'm a glutton for punishment. Sure, bring it on.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of the documents, I'm just going to turn them into a PDF, and got a few old photos of the members past, and some of them we know, some of them we don't. In fact, now I wonder, Bill, I wonder if Raymond would know some of those folks in that photo you were showing me.
Probably does.
Okay.
Well, I've been a member since early 70s.
Yeah. Well,
Larry Lubert brought me in.
did you get in the
Okay,
set?
yeah.
We were meeting over there at the bank, the basement
Right.
of the bank on 24 Highway. No, not 24. Yeah, it was State Avenue.
Yeah.
That's 24 Highway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't remember the name of the bank.
I didn't get in until the early 80s. So, you might have to give me back a copy of the membership list from like the 70s, or because we might have some of the names of the people that are in that picture you're talking about.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I'll try to get some more of that stuff scanned, and I'll send it out to you guys, and see how much of it you can pick out of the group.
I'm really glad to see this ISBN number or EIN number. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't lose that number.
Oh no. No, as long as we're a club, that number stays with
Yeah.
us, even though we don't have to do
Do
anything
you have
with
the
it.
original papers on that?
No.
Yeah, I think did you give them to me? But I scanned them anyway. I scanned them from somewhere. Maybe you gave them to me. I put them
Okay.
in the boxes I've got here in the file box. So, but yeah, as long as we have that number, the IRS can pull that up. But
Well, have you
until we
given
start,
consideration to going live again?
that kind of depends on how things go and how many people get interested in it. That's up to everybody else. Because I really kind of enjoyed that, and I'm just wondering how many folks would, we go back to meeting in person again. How many would actually be participating? Because a lot of us lost sight of when we would say come to the September meeting. They had to bring the prints for the following month, because then we took the prints out to the judge like within a few days of that meeting, so the judge would have them for enough time to go through them, and then bring them back to the next meeting. So,
Well, I like the live. Well, not only on Zoom, but when we had a meeting when I was judging live, I like that face to face, because a lot of times that guy from Ohio, what was it he had next to him that he was always taking
Mark Fold,
Mark Fold.
drinking his tea.
I mean, some of those judges, like, oh my God. Yeah. And N4C was even worse.
Yeah, they got really bad. They were pretty good when I first joined the club. N4C was somewhat decent, but then it got to a point where it was just.
Well, the only comment was it was too dark or too light or something like that. It was just like 2 or 3 words.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they lost sight of the objective.
Sure.
Anyway, I think the live judging is a lot better, be it Zoom or live. But I mean live in the sense that you're physically
in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to check out.
All right. I think I'm going to check out. Tyler, Spencer, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yes, next time.
You bet.
Sure.
We'll see you.
Sure. We'll
Bye.
be seeing you next month. Raymond, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Raymond.
You're welcome. Good to meet you guys.
Bye.